Mel Kiper dropped a new mock draft, so I want to go through with you guys, see who we had the Browns taking in round number 2, react to the pick, kind of break it down, and I'll give you my thoughts and analysis along the way. But I think a good starting point for Mel Kiper mock drafts, and not to pick on him, it's a very difficult job and tough industry to make predictions on what 32 teams are going to do, but I looked at his mock draft last year for this date range where he comes out with a 2-round mock at the beginning of April, and I just want you guys to know the facts, and that is it's a tough thing to do, make mock drafts, but last year, of the 32 picks he had for round number 2, a little over half actually went in round number 2. Some guys went in round 1, some guys went as late as like round 4 in his mock draft. Only 2 selections in round number 2 were actually correct, meaning he got the right player to the right team at the right selection. It was Joe Tippmann, the center to the Jets, and then John Michael Schmitz, the center to the Giants. So he knows his centers. He did correctly pick 5 positions to the correct team. So he may have had, Buccaneers going after a corner, and they did draft a corner, but it wasn't the exact corner he picked. So just want you guys to have a little background information on how accurate are these Mel Kiper mock drafts. But with that being said, what's your favorite Browns draft coverage go-to spot? Let me know in the comment section. If it's here, that's awesome. That's definitely going to go to my head. If it's somewhere else, that's cool too. I just want to see where you guys like to get your Browns draft content from. Now, let's jump into this mock draft because he starts it off with a doozy. The Giants trading up with the Panthers to go get Bo Nix at pick 33. I like that. I don't think there's going to be 5 quarterbacks that go in round 1. I think Bo Nix and Michael Penix are both going to be available in round 2. And you can actually see the Rams trade up for Penix at pick 37. We get a run of wide receivers at, Ricky Purcell and Lad McConkey at 38 and 39. Unfortunately, my main man, Edgerrin Cooper, goes to the Packers at 41. So rule him off your list. Drazan Johnny Newton, another player I'm super high on, taken at 42 by the Texans, but I'd be shocked if he fell all the way to 54. Moving along in this mock draft here, Malachi Corley, another player we've talked about on the channel, he goes to the Saints at 45. We get a couple other wide receivers, right? Roman Wilson to the Bengals, Jalen McMillan, to the Steelers at 51. Troy Franklin to the Colts. We've talked about him before. So some familiar names that the Browns could have their eyes on going before Cleveland at 54. And now we do land at pick 54 after Jalen Polk goes to the Eagles at 53. Mel Kiper has the Browns selecting the Florida State defensive tackle Braden Fiske ahead of Texas running back Jonathan Brooks. That could be of interest to Cleveland. But let's get to know Braden Fiske for a moment. He's 6'4", 292 pounds, so in the same size range of other defensive tackles Andrew Berry is drafted, right? Some similar-ish traits or at least physical makeup as to like Jordan Elliott, but Braden Fiske is a lot faster and a lot quicker. When you watch the Braden Fiske tape, the thing that jumps out to you is his overall athleticism. And that really shows up in his RAS score, relative athletic score of 9.89. Nearly a perfect out of 10. So he's got a great first step. He's got great speed. He started off at Western Michigan, played 5 seasons there before transferring to Florida State. So he's 24 years old. He's an older prospect. Andrew Berry definitely has a type, right? He's kind of like a Leonardo DiCaprio when he's drafting. He likes him young. So for that reason, I'm already a little like, whether he's a good player or not, I don't know if Andrew Berry is going to give him the time of day. An interesting fact about Braden Fiske, he really dominated after the season ended, all the way from the Senior Bowl to the Combine. At the Senior Bowl, he won an award that was given like an effort award, I guess we'll call it. I'm kind of blanking on the actual name it has, but it's given by the opposing offensive line. So it's who is hell for you to go up against in practice all week? Braden Fiske. So that kind of gives you a good insight as to the high motor and just overall effort that this guy brings every single snap, that the opposing offensive line all week at the Senior Bowl was like, he was a tough SOB to deal with, and he's definitely the guy most deserving of this award. In his lone season in Tallahassee for the Seminoles, he had 43 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. He really showed up in the ACC championship game, which I really value when you look at prospects and whatnot, right? How do they play when the lights are brightest? And in the ACC championship game, that's a lot more pressure than playing an FCS school in week 2. Now, when you look at Cleveland's defensive line, when you look at their entire roster, they don't really have a dire need to find a starter with pick 54. So I'm very much on board with, hey, this guy may not have a big role in 2024, but if he's a good football player, he'll eventually grow into a starting job maybe in 2025 or 2026 because the Browns are pretty set at defensive tackle. They just re-signed Shelby Harris and Mo Hurst. They added Quentin Jefferson, right? You would think that those 3 signings would probably mean they're not all that invested in going DT with their first pick in the draft. But if there's a guy that Andrew Berry feels like has no business being there at 54, maybe he does go for him. Now, let me share with you guys what Mel Kiper wrote on Braden Fiske. Cleveland, without a first-round pick as a result of the Deshaun Watson trade, thank you for the reminder, from March 2022, could look for a wide receiver or offensive lineman in round 2. But I see depth along the D-line as a more pressing hole. Fiske, my second-ranked defensive tackle, had a stellar combine workout, showing top-level physical traits. He had 12 sacks in his 2 seasons at FSU. Sorry, 2 seasons at FSU. This is not an Andrew Berry pick in my eyes. The age element is something, right? Because he's never drafted anyone over the age of 23. So maybe he makes an exception, and maybe there's a first for everything. So this could be a time where Berry bends a little bit, but I just feel like he's probably not going to bend all the way to 24 at a position he doesn't really need right now when he's looking to try and get some more production for an all-in 2024 season. That would be my train of thought. So let me turn it over to you guys. Grade a Braden Fiske draft pick. I think Braden Fiske can make a really good defensive tackle in this league. We haven't seen Andrew Berry go DT in round 2. He's drafted 2020, 2021, 2, 3. This will be his 5th draft. So maybe this is the year he kind of ends that drought, if you will. But it just doesn't really seem like this is going to be the guy that does it for him. For me, I would give this pick a B. I think it's kind of in the middle of the green, or middle of the fairway, where the physical traits are really good. Like, he's got great speed. He's got a great first step. He's physical. There's a lot to like there. But when you're 24 years old and you're going up against 19-year-old guards against Wake Forest, yeah, you may have some success, right? And so I do think that the age element may really weigh into Andrew Berry's decision-making process. So for that reason, I'll give it a B. I do like Braden Fiske as a player. I'll be curious to see if he ends up going to the Browns. My suspicion is he likely won't be. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, where we talk more draft picks for the Browns and whatnot, I do want to share with you guys an awesome deal going on with our friends over at Game Time. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time, and when you download the Game Time app, you can save $20 on your first purchase when you use code CHATSPORTS. Now, if you don't know what Game Time is, it's the number one place to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. If you're trying to catch a Guardians game, a Cavs game, or any other local sporting event, use Game Time because they're going to have the best deals at the last possible moment. I like to plan ahead. I know not everyone does, so if you're either someone who likes to wait to the last moment, or maybe your significant other is that person, Game Time's going to be your friend. So make sure to download the Game Time app today. It's the best place to find last-minute seats. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So just looking at that mock draft from Mel Kiper, if that's how the board really shakes out for Cleveland by pick 54, I would not be surprised if Andrew Berry's not only taking phone calls, but maybe he's making phone calls, right? I've never been in an NFL draft war room, so I can't say with absolute certainty how this all goes down behind the scenes, but we've seen Andrew Berry trade back before, and when you look at the Browns' Current draft selections for 2024. They don't have a fourth round pick. They've got a seventh. Andrew Berry never picks in round 7 for the most part. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get back into later portion of day 2 or earlier in day 3 by trading back from pick 54, which keep in mind, like the Browns have not even picked in round 2 for a couple of seasons, right? Last year, they made the trade with Elijah Moore. That brought him back to round number 3. The draft before that in 2022, you guys remember the Browns were at pick 44. They traded back with the Houston Texans all the way to 68 to accumulate 2 more fourth-round picks in that year's draft. So don't close the door on the Browns trading back. I know we're all eager and slightly impatient, and I think just overall, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, or maybe everyone feels this way, a little left out. Everyone's having fun the last 2 months talking about the draft, looking at mock drafts for round 1. And it's not fun when you're the last team to pick, right? And we're talking not even the last team to pick in round 1. Just the last team in the NFL draft to pick at 54. So it may not sound like a really appetizing idea to go back even further from 54. But if you get a good offer and you don't love the guys at, 54? Maybe you do listen to a couple of trades. So are you open to trading back? Yes or no? There is something to be said about quality over quantity, I think, when it comes to the NFL draft. Like, it's super cool to have a ton of picks, but take some time and go look at all those trades that involved like teams moving up to first overall and the haul that first overall pick owner got. Like the Rams and the Redskins for RG3, right? Or when the Rams traded up to get Jared Goff with, I think it was the Titans, yeah. Go look at what those picks turned into. A lot of those guys were nobodies. So if you've got quality picks in the NFL, I would prioritize it. But I know Andrew Berry loves a good trade. So what about this trade idea? The Browns and the Panthers strike a deal where Carolina, who does not have a first-round pick, but they do have 2 seconds. Maybe they want to get 3 second-round picks to really try and surround Bryce Young with as much talent as possible. So they go from 65 to 54, and in exchange, the Browns pick up a future third-rounder, which I know isn't a ton of fun for this year's draft, but next year, I think you'll thank me when the Browns are back in the first round. They've got a second-round pick, and they've got 2 third-round picks to work with. They'll be doing a lot of wheeling and dealing when they may not be as big spenders in free agency because they've already given out some really big contracts the last few off seasons. So with that in mind, let's say the Browns do trade back from, just under this idea, from 54 to, 65. Here's the guy to watch for. Houston left tackle Patrick Paul. He's 6'7", 331 pounds. An RAS score of 9.66. I probably should have mentioned earlier, RAS is like the OPS, in my opinion, of testing and comparing people's size, weight, and speed and athletic drills that they do at the NFL Combine. It's graded 1 through 10. Obviously, closer to 10 to better. 9.66 is an incredible score. And Andrew Berry has always prioritized players with high RAS scores. So this fits the mold. 23 years old would be one of the older picks, but he took Cedric Tillman, who's 23 or was 23 last year in round number 3. So maybe he goes back to back. But more on Patrick Paul. 3-time first-team All-AAC player with 44 starts at left tackle before joining the Big 12. He was number 10 on Mel Kiper's big board at offensive tackle, so we're looking at a pretty good prospect from a league-wide perspective. Here are his PFF grades and stats from last season. An overall grade of 81.1. Remember, with PFF, I always add 10 to it, and that gives you your school letter grade. So an A-. 1 sack allowed, 1 hit, 7 hurries, and 3 penalties. Now, do the Browns need to find a starting tackle in this draft? No, they do not. They've got 3 starting tackles: Jed Wills, DeJuan Jones, and Jack Conklin. So why would it make any sense for a team that already has one too many starting tackles to go out and add another tackle with their first pick in the draft? The logic for drafting an offensive tackle is you remove a need for next offseason, because going into this draft, you don't have many pressing needs. You are doing future you a favor, right? It's like when 22-year-old you decides, I don't need to invest in my retirement fund, But then 26-year-old you's like, I should probably look into getting a 401k. Patrick Paul is your Roth IRA. You are making a good investment for the future when next offseason rolls around and Jed Wills is a free agent. Jack Conklin's a year older and still has a big cap hit. If the Browns want to move on from Conklin and not pay Wills, you've already got one replacement in DeJuan Jones in the wings, but you could have Patrick Paul do what DeJuan Jones did last season, right? And we learned last year just how valuable it is to have good quality backup tackles in the National Football League. So now you'd really complete your tackle position, and you go into 2025 where you've got a good contingency plan in place if you do end up moving on from Wills or Conklin, and that's one less thing you have to focus on in next year's draft. All right, that will do it for us in today's show. I really thought Braden Fiske only played one season, and now you guys are going to see me fact check myself on the fly because I don't know. Am I an idiot? He only played one Florida. I knew it. Damn it. Because Kiper said he played two, right?
He did. I think Kiper did say that.
Yeah, no. I was like, he didn't play. That pumpkin-eating motherfucker. All right. Are we ready to pick a card?
I think so. I'm going to roll with...
I get things wrong from time to time. I know that. I'm not perfect. But I was like, man, I really I did my research on this guy. He played one season. How did I miss that?
Happens.
Happens. All right, which card do you want to go with?
I'm going to go with 9 of clubs today.
He only played one season at Florida State. I'm going with the ace, because that's like the one, right? Of ace of diamonds.
There you go. Diamond in the rough.
I'm not happy. Good video besides that. What'd you say? Close. 8 of clubs. Wow. 8 of clubs. The 5 of clubs guys gonna be pissed. All right, we're gonna sign off. We'll see you all later. Until next time, go Brownies.